It certainly falls into the general definition of fascist, for sure.
A shocking revelation. Trump's admiration for Hitler's generals. Donald Trump's presidency was marked by controversy, but few revelations were as unsettling as his reported admiration for Adolf Hitler's generals. According to John Kelly, Trump's former chief of staff, the former president, expressed a desire for military leaders who exhibited the same unquestioning loyalty as those who served the Nazi regime. These remarks, recounted in detail by The Atlantic and confirmed by Kelly himself, sent shockwaves through the political landscape. Trump, according to Kelly, seemed to admire the ruthlessness and efficiency of Hitler's generals, seemingly unconcerned with their role in the horrors of the Holocaust. Kelly, a retired four-star Marine general, attempted to educate Trump, explaining the dangers of such blind loyalty and emphasizing the importance of ethical military leadership. These efforts, however, appeared to have little impact on Trump, who continued to express his admiration for authoritarian strongmen. The revelation of Trump's comments ignited a firestorm of criticism, with many expressing deep concern about his understanding of history, leadership, and the dangers of unchecked power. Denials and deflections, the Trump campaign's response. Trump, as was often his style, vehemently denied Kelly's account of the conversation. He took to his social media platform Truth Social to denounce Kelly as a disgruntled employee and a liar. The Trump campaign echoed these denials, dismissing Kelly's claims as politically motivated falsehoods. In an attempt to deflect criticism, Trump's supporters pointed to his record on military spending and veteran care, arguing that these actions spoke louder than Kelly's words. Some, like Fox News host Brian Kilmeade, suggested that Trump might have been unaware of the Nazi affiliations of the generals he praised, arguing that his comments were born out of ignorance rather than malice. This defense, however, failed to resonate with many who pointed to Trump's long history of praising dictators and strongmen. The suggestion that he was simply unaware of the atrocities committed by the Nazi regime seemed implausible at best and dangerously naive at worst. Voices of concern. Reactions from political figures. Kelly's revelations drew sharp rebukes from across the political spectrum. Governor Chris Sununu of New Hampshire, a Republican who has been critical of Trump, stated that the former president's comments were unacceptable and un-American. While Sununu acknowledged that extreme rhetoric had become common in contemporary politics, he emphasized that such comments should never be normalized or excused. Veteran Jim Littner, a Democrat who served in Vietnam, delivered an emotional response, highlighting the sacrifices made by American soldiers to defeat fascism. Littner condemned Trump's admiration for Hitler's generals as a betrayal of those who fought and died to preserve freedom and democracy. He called for a clear and unequivocal condemnation of Trump's rhetoric from both Democrats and Republicans. Harris's stark warning, Trump's fascism and the threat to democracy. Vice President Kamala Harris responded to Kelly's revelations with a stark warning about the dangers of Trump's political style and rhetoric. Speaking at a CNN town hall, Harris labeled Trump a fascist and argued that his admiration for Hitler's generals provided further evidence of his authoritarian impulses. She highlighted Trump's attacks on democratic institutions, his embrace of conspiracy theories, and his incitement of violence as hallmarks of his dangerous approach to politics. Harris warned that a second Trump presidency would pose a grave threat to American democracy, potentially pushing the country further down a path toward authoritarianism. She urged Americans, regardless of their political affiliation, to recognize the dangers posed by Trump and to reject his brand of divisive and dangerous politics. Harris's strong condemnation of Trump resonated with many who shared her concerns about the former president's authoritarian tendencies. Section 5, Military Opposition, a chorus of dissent against Trump. Kelly's revelations were particularly striking given his background as a retired four-star general. His account of Trump's comments lent further credence to the growing chorus of retired military officials who publicly opposed Trump's candidacy and presidency. These individuals, many of whom had dedicated their lives to upholding the Constitution and defending American democracy, expressed deep concern about Trump's fitness for office. They cited his disdain for democratic norms, his attacks on the free press, and his willingness to use the military for personal gain as evidence of his unsuitability for command. The fact that so many high-ranking military officials felt compelled to break with tradition and speak out against a sitting president underscored the gravity of the concerns about Trump's leadership and his potential threat to American democracy. Section 6, Kelly's warning, a history of concern and a call to action. Kelly's decision to share his account of Trump's comments was particularly noteworthy given his history with the former president. Kelly, who served as Trump's chief of staff for 17 months, had initially refrained from publicly criticizing his former boss. However, he had reportedly become increasingly alarmed by Trump's behavior in the aftermath of the 2020 election and his role in the January 6th insurrection. In the months leading up to the publication of the Atlantic article, Kelly had begun to speak more openly about his concerns, describing Trump as a threat to American democracy. He warned that Trump's continued hold on the Republican Party and his efforts to overturn the election results posed a clear and present danger to the country. Kelly's decision to go public with his account of Trump's admiration for Hitler's generals was a significant escalation of his criticism, signaling his belief that the time for silence had passed. Section 7. The paradox of support, Trump and the military. Despite the chorus of criticism from retired military officials and the deeply concerning nature of his comments about Hitler's generals, Trump continued to enjoy significant support from active duty military personnel and veterans. This paradox highlighted the complex relationship between Trump and the military, one marked by both admiration and unease. Trump's populist message, his emphasis on American strength and his willingness to challenge the status quo resonated with some within the military community. Moreover, his administration's increases in military spending and his vocal support for veterans were seen as positive developments by many. However, Trump's admiration for authoritarian leaders, his disdain for democratic norms, and his willingness to politicize the military alienated many within the ranks. Section 8. Safeguarding democracy, the imperative of condemnation. The revelations about Trump's admiration for Hitler's generals serve as a stark reminder of the importance of condemning authoritarian rhetoric and defending democratic values. Trump's comments, coupled with his history of attacking democratic institutions and norms, should alarm all Americans regardless of their political affiliation. It is crucial to recognize that words have power, and Trump's rhetoric has real-world consequences. His attacks on the media, the judiciary, and anyone who dared to criticize him eroded trust in democratic institutions and emboldened extremists. Failure to condemn his dangerous rhetoric risks normalizing it and paving the way for further erosion of democratic norms. Defending democracy requires constant vigilance and a willingness to speak out against those who seek to undermine it. Trump's comments should serve as a wake-up call, reminding us of the fragility of democracy and the importance of defending it against those who would seek to destroy it.